Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I'm coming on now to do the draw for my Easter giveaway. As I said in my original video, there will be two prizes, and I have got inside here, I've got the numbers. I've numbered you all, and inside here, oops, I don't know if you can see, no, anyway, they're in there. The numbers. Okay, there are 3 people who've said they don't wish to be entered, so of course, so I'm just going to move something out of the way. Of course, their numbers are not in the pot. Okay, so to qualify for an entry, you had to be UK based and a subscriber and ask me 2 questions. So many of you asked the same questions, but as we go through, if a duplicate question comes up, obviously I'm not going to answer it. Okay, but I do want to read out everybody's questions. So let's get started. So Christine Newton asks, how long have you crafted and what seasons of the year do you like? Well, I have crafted probably since I was 6 or 7. So I learned to knit and to sew from my mother, who was very good at those sorts of things. And then I moved on to crocheting and embroidery and cross stitch and papercraft. Really, papercraft came much later, I have to say. It came when I went to a session of a CBT session to help me with my ME, and they suggested, take up something that engrosses you, that you enjoy, and that is sort of mindfulness, sort of helps to concentrate the brain on one thing and not on everything else. And that's when I thought of making cards for people that I liked or knew or loved, and that's how it came about. So, and then it says, what seasons of the year do you like? Well, I like, outside, I love spring. I love spring because it's, I just love to see the new blossom and the daffodils, the crocuses, those lovely bright colours after a long, dull winter. But I do also love Christmas and crafting for Christmas. Okay, so Michelle Wright asks, what is your favourite colour to craft with? Now, that's a difficult one because I will use all colours. And you probably realise that, that I when I do my de-stash, not my de-stash, when I do my stash busting videos, I'm not sort of saying, oh no, I don't like that colour, I'm not going to use it. However, I do think I probably use, majority of cards will be pink or blue, somewhere in the card. And then she says, what made you decide to take your craft to YouTube? Well, I was trying to think about that. I think I've been on YouTube since 2019, or maybe even 2018, maybe either the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2018. And what happened was it must have been just before Christmas of 2018, and I looked on YouTube for some ideas for Christmas, for Christmas decoration, and I found this one, which I like very much. And as a result of that, I found a crafter's channel. I can't remember who it was, which I really, really liked. And I thought, okay, I'm going to see what else she does. And she was doing a giveaway. So being cheeky, I decided to enter the giveaway, and I won it. And so that winning, I thought, I have to show what I've won. I have to show it, because that's what you do. That's what I'd seen other people doing on YouTube. And so that was the first video to share with people what I had made. What I had won. And so that was that. So that was around March time, maybe. And so I did put up one or two videos tentatively, a haul and one or two other things. And then somebody did a shout out for me, which was great and quite unexpectedly. And then what happened? Well, then I was in hospital. I broke my leg, and I was in hospital. And I think I just did a quick video saying, look, I'm in hospital. I won't be putting up any videos, or whatever. And somebody said to me, oh, can I advertise that? Can I advertise the fact that you're in hospital? So she did a shout out for me, and I was inundated with gifts, with cards, with all sorts of things. And for me, it's not so much my craft on YouTube, but it's the crafting community that that I find so welcoming, so supportive, so loving, and that's what makes me continue with YouTube. Not oh, my numbers are going up or whatever, but the people that I'm meeting through interacting and the support that I've had. When you sort of enter a collaboration and you make something, you think, oh gosh, this is awful, but you show it, and then some people will say, oh, that's really nice, or yes, I like that, or or they might give suggestions, and that those suggestions are there to help you, not to criticize, and that's so that's what really my YouTube journey. So then Francis English asks, how long have you been crafting? Well, I've already answered that. And which is your favorite company? Now, I don't really have a favorite company. To be honest, I get a lot of my supplies from D-Stashes. I'm always out for a bargain. And I've also been fortunate enough to inherit two people's crafting supplies. So, that's quite a lot of stuff. So, but if I have to say there's a favorite, well, I love Hunky Dory images and their products. It's not that I don't buy a lot from them, but I do like the quality of their things. So Jenny's Crafty Corner asks, what one paper craft technique or tool would you like to try that you haven't? Now, I was trying to think about this paper craft technique. I think it would be working with vellum. Yeah, I haven't worked with vellum at all. So it is something I've got on my to-do list, to try embossing vellum and colouring it, etc. So I think that's what it would be. And then she asks, what is your favourite theme or occasion for greeting cards? Well, I make a lot of birthday cards, I have to say, because those are what people tend to want. They want, those cards. So, and I love flowers. So a lot of my work has flowers on it somewhere. But as to a theme, I don't think I have any particular theme that I like more than any other. And then Angela Redman asks, what other hobbies do you enjoy? Well, apart from crafting, I do enjoy gardening, but I have very little energy, and so I can't really garden for very long. And what other hobbies? I just love trying all sorts of things in the crafting scenario, really. And she says, have you always crafted? Well, I've already answered that. Lorna Callahan asks, which fancy fold card is your favourite and why? And I thought about this, and I thought, well, I have liked all the fancy fold cards that I have done with the Fun Fold card collaboration with Monica. But some of them are not easy to replicate out of the top of my head. So if I'm thinking of something that is easy for me to do without having to go back and check videos or my notes to see, how to make it, then I will have to go for either an easel card or a joyfold card, those two. And then she says, what size and shape of card is your favorite to make? And again, I don't have a favorite. I just use what bases I've got, or what the paper demands, So I do have a lot of 5x7 card blanks at the moment. So a lot of my cards are 5x7, but I enjoy the 6x6 and the A6 and smaller cards as well. So I don't have a favorite. Kaz 0518 asks, what is your favorite craft you like to make? And then she also asks, how long have you been crafting? Which I've already answered. So my favorite craft I like to make, well, I just love making cards, really. So I think I would have to go for cards. But I do like making crackers. I do like doing decorations. In fact, I like everything I put my hand to, and jewelry, etc., etc. But as with everything, it's time constraints. Not, it's not that I say, okay, I'm dying to make this and I'm going to make it. It's whatever I've got on my list, and and if I've got a commission or something like that, obviously that has to come first. So there are lots of things I'd like to try, but I haven't quite got around to. But they're there on my list waiting. And then Andrea, the Cumbrian crafter, asks, do you have any other hobbies? Well, we've already answered that. And which is your favorite season to craft? And well, for that, I have to say it's Christmas. Excuse me. I have to say Christmas because it's so versatile. And there are so many different things that you can do for Christmas. And for me, Christmas is a time of making other people happy. And if I can make them something that I know they're going to like, whatever, that's even better. And Anne Lane asks, what got you into crafting? Well, I just have to say that was my mother, basically. She was always making things, and I was just eager to try. I remember her so patiently teaching me how to knit. And then I had this, a few odd balls of reused wool, yellow wool, I remember it. And I had a pattern. I was about 7, and I said, I'm going to make this cardigan, Mum. And she said, oh, very good, very good. And I started off knitting it. And of course, when you measure how much you've done, you don't pull it. But of course, I pulled it, pulled it. Said, look, it's this much. Yes, I've done enough of that. So of course, the garment was unwearable. In fact, I don't think I finished it. But it was a good lesson, a good learning curve. But I have to say I got it from my mum. And what is your favorite tool to use? Well, that is difficult. But favorite tool. Maybe my guillotine, because that helps me to cut straight lines and measure properly without too much hassle. Then Mel asks, do you have any favorite colors or themes you mostly like to craft with? Well, I think I've already answered that one. And she said, which card out of Fancy Fold Challenge has been your favorite to make? I think I've also answered that. Denise at Little G Papergraphs asks, do you have any other crafts? So yes, I do. I do jewelry making. And what else do I do? Jewelry making. Well, and I'm just having a look around. All the other things that I have are all things to do with techniques. Now I'm trying to do a bit more colouring, getting used to the different things like alcohol markers and acrylic paints and watercolour. So that is an ongoing procedure. And she says, what is your favorite card making technique? Well, my favorite card making technique is to pull out my stash of bits and pieces and see what goes together and make a card from it. That is my favorite technique, rather than following a pattern or whatever. I just like to make something nice out of random bits and pieces. Heather Robertson asks, are you generally crafty or do you do just paper crafts? Well, I think I've answered that. Generally crafty, yeah. And is crafting something you do to relax? And here I have to say yes, definitely. It's very interesting. If I don't craft for a day or two, I start to feel really unwell. And that is quite interesting, because that obviously shows that I need it. My brain needs that time to get absorbed and be able to relax from other things. And Irene Payton asks, do you do any other type of crafting? I've already answered that. Emily Manley asks, what inspired you to make a YouTube channel? I've also answered that. And what is your favorite color? Well, I think I'm going to have to say it's pink or teal. Those two colors I really like. Margaret Flaxman asks, what is your favorite color? Already answered. And if I could buy any craft item, what would you buy? Any craft item, what would I buy? I have enough of everything. And I really can't think of anything that, that I would rush to get, okay? However, I have seen people using the CraftStash stamp platform, and they all say how good it is and how, it's fantastic. So perhaps it would be that. Chris Pathmino asks, how do you get free samples? Well, Chris, that's, you have to wait for some company to approach you. And they'll say, oh, we think your channel would be perfect. And, would you like to collaborate with us? That is one way of getting free samples. But then, of course, you have to agree to their terms and conditions, and you have to like what they are asking you to use. And then some companies do ask you to write in if you want to collaborate with them. So I'm thinking of BB Craft, for example. If you want to do a collaboration with them, you've got to have 100 subscribers or more on YouTube. You write to them, and if they like you, then go ahead. They give you a certain amount of money to spend. But that's all I can say, really. And then she says, do you make cards for friends and family, or do you sell them? Well, both. I do sell them. I don't have a huge market. I don't have a huge outlet, rather, for people to buy my cards. But now and again, people ask me, or could you make this card for me? Or can I look in your box of cards and see if there's something there? Have you got a card for such and such an occasion, or whatever? And yes, I do make cards for friends and family. And that is what gives me a lot of joy, is to think of the person, think what they would like, and make it. Rustic Pumpkin asks, what is the smallest scrap of paper or card or offcut you have saved, and did you use it? Well, let's see. For example, I've got a strip here. Okay, so we'll do it with the strip. So probably about that size, which is, I've got my thing here, about an inch by an eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch. I would find a use for that. I don't like throwing things away, and I will use the things, so for example, if I've got strips of white left over, then I will stamp on them to make sentiments. If I've got strips of, this is a metallic strip, sometimes I cut this down into thin strips and use that as if it were a peel off along the edge of a card and things like that. Or I use the strips to make pretty patterns on a piece of paper and then use that as a background. So yes, I do use the small bits and pieces. And she says, do I have any crossover crafts? And if so, what are they and why? So I had to ask her what she meant by crossover crafts, but what I think she meant was one craft leads to another. So I have, with my cross stitch, I tend to use that in my paper crafting. So I don't frame it and make it into a nice pretty picture or a cushion or whatever. I'll make it into a bookmark or a card or what else? Or I was going to say a journal. I haven't actually made a journal, but a folder, a file folder or something like that with the cross stitch on the front. I'll also do that with my diamond art painting. So those are two crossovers, mainly because I want the person I'm giving it to. I don't make any of these things to keep them for myself. Okay, so I want the person to have good use from it. I don't want them just to say, "Oh, that's nice," and throw it in the bin. So even if they don't like the picture, they can use the little notebook or whatever, and then throw it away. Or frame it or do whatever they want with it. Lisa, the crafting diva, asks, what are your favorite color combinations you like to craft with? That's interesting. Well, I like things that go together. And I quite like, for example, to have a strong color as well as a pale color. Recently I made a card that was quite a pale topper, and I used in pink and cream, and I used a really strong green behind to make it pop. And she asks, what is your favorite craft to do? Well, I've already answered that, so I think we can move on. Anne Pullinger asks, how long have you been a paper crafter? So I would say probably about 50 years. Yeah. And how long have I been on YouTube? I've already answered that. So if it was 2018, that must be 7 years coming up. Laurel Gorsden asks, do you have a favorite style of card to make? Favorite style of card to make? No, I don't. I just make whatever I'm inspired with, really, at the time. Although I do like making easel cards. I like making Z-fold cards. But for those, you need to have, the right combination of toppers and papers and things. So I would need to set out to deliberately do that. Whereas with just a sort of a flat card, a blank canvas, so to speak, you can do whatever you want, And she says, how do you get over creative blanks for inspiration? Well, to be honest, I haven't had any creative blanks. And I think that is because I have lots of different types of craft. So I've got the paper crafting, I've got jewelry making, I've got diamond art, I've got cross stitch, and anything else that comes up. So if I can move from one to the other, and I've got lots of projects on the go all the time. So I can choose my energy levels or the deadlines that I've got or whatever. But if I'm given a commission to do, so I've got to think about a card. Supposing somebody says to me, can you make a card which they have done for a 90-year-old man who likes hiking and likes, I think it was beer he liked or something, anyway, some alcohol. And that was what she wanted represented on the card. And I thought, what do I do? What do I do? So for that, I don't actually look for things in magazines or on Pinterest or anything like that. I start to think what I've got in my things, among my things, and then I start to think of what sort of card I could make, what shape it could be. And so a lot of thought will have gone into it before I actually make it. And usually, you know, within a day or two, I've got the idea, and that's, you know, but I mull it over first. And the same if I'm given some design team work to do and I'm not very sure what to do. Again, I mull it over first. However, I also get inspiration when I start crafting. So, you know, I get a few things together and I start moving the papers around and seeing, does this work? Does that work? And very often I get inspiration that way as well. Monica Verkluska asks, what is your favorite craft brand? I've already answered that. And do you have a favorite fancy fold card style? And I've already answered that. So we say hunky dory, and favorite fancy fold card style is the easel card or the joy fold card. Crafty Little Things asks, what motivates you to create? Well, sometimes it's challenges on YouTube. I love doing the challenges and trying to do things which, you know, I haven't done before, or you know, to create something which I would never dream of creating. So that is a motivation. Another motivation is commissions, which I don't get very many of. I mean, I'm talking about commissions, but I don't get many. And but also I have got lots of ideas in my head. So I've got a long list of things I'd like to do, things I'd like to make, which just have to wait for the right moment. And then she says, what is your favorite project or piece of art you have created? Wow, that's difficult, really. But, well, I embroidered a tablecloth for my parents when I was at university. And I really loved doing that. And I think, you know, I was very proud of how it worked, how it turned out. But if we're talking about more recent things, I think I made a folder. I wanted to use a diamond art painting that I had made of a butterfly, fairly big A4 size diamond art. And I made that into a file using some Amazon packaging, and, you know, as we do, and filled it and sent it to a friend. And that, I think, you know, I was really pleased with how that came out. And I had done that from scratch. I'd done it from just up here thinking. And so, yeah, that perhaps. And Paper and Twine asks, which, inverted commas, celebrity crafter inspires you the most? Difficult, because I don't watch many celebrity crafters. I watch, well, I suppose if I have to say it would be, what's she called? Sam Calcott. Because if I need to know how to make a fancy fold card, I usually go to her videos, because I find that she you know, gives very clear instructions. I also watch Natasha Foote, but it's not that I've done the techniques that she's done, but I like to watch her for interest. And Ashley, I have to say, although perhaps you don't consider yourself a celebrity, you have inspired me quite a lot with your smooshing techniques and the way you use distress inks and things like that. So that's that. And then she says, what 2 crafty items would you take to a desert island? Well, again, that is difficult, because most crafts need more than 2 items. But if it were an unlimited supply, maybe I don't know really. I think it would definitely be in the paper crafting side of things. So I'm going to say card and some markers, because with that you can do a lot of things. Alison Preston asked, is there a certain season you like making cards for? That I would have to say is Christmas. And then she asks, what is your favorite glue? Well, at the moment I'm using art glitter glue, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to say that. And Jenny Ginger Ninja Crafts asks, what got you started on crafting? Already said that. And is there a craft you want to try but haven't yet? And yes, there is. So I would love to try resin work, but I know that's out of the question where I live. I haven't got enough space to do that. But I would like to do some work with air dry clay. That's one thing. And the other thing is, what's it called? Where you have wool felting. I'd like to have a go at that. So those are all the questions. I hope I've answered them to your satisfaction. And now we'll do the draw. So first prize, give it a good shake. Okay, taking the lid off. I'm just putting my hand inside just so you can see I'm not looking. And so first prize is number 23, who is Paper and Twine. Oh, congratulations, Ashley. Well done. Right, and now the second prize, which it will be a surprise. It will be that 6x6 paper pad, but I added a few other things to it as well. So for number 2, we'll pull out this one. Let me see, this is one. This is number 14. And number 14 is Amy Manley. Oh, Amy, how wonderful. So she's the second prize. Okay, so congratulations to you both. And I'm sorry I can't give a prize to all of you, but I have got another giveaway on the go. I'm not sure if you've seen it. So I am giving away a pocket letter. So if you look at the second part 2 of the video where I show what I did with the things that I received from Sabine of Cross Key Crafts. So the video went up, I'll tell you when it went up, not very long ago, on the 14th of March. So if you want a chance to win that pocket letter, and some other crafty items as well will be included, go to that video and just follow the instructions. It will be drawn on the 24th, so a week on Monday. So there we have it. And I have to say thank you to all my new subscribers and to all of you you've been commenting, and it's been so lovely to have that interaction with you. So I hope you'll stay with me, and I hope we get to know each other a bit better. And in the meantime, enjoy the rest of Sunday. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.